I always thought the worst thing a man could feel was grief. I was wrong. The worst thing is doubting the person you love and being afraid you might be right. 3 months ago, everything with my wife Olivia felt normal, or at least I thought it was. But then the red flags started, quietly, like whispers in the dark. She stopped laughing at my jokes, stopped saying goodnight, stopped reaching for my hand in the car. At first, I blamed work stress, bad sleep, life, anything except her. Because when you love someone, your brain protects you with excuses. But then little things started stacking up. She changed her phone password, turned off notifications, started sleeping with the phone under her pillow, like a teenager hiding something. And every time I asked, she smiled. Not sweetly, not lovingly, but like she was amused that I even cared. "You're overthinking everything," she'd say. "You sound paranoid." Her tone wasn't comforting. It was cold, like she enjoyed how confused I was. The night everything began to fall apart was a Thursday. She left the house at 9:30 p.m., saying she was going to the gym, but she walked out wearing perfume and lip gloss. And just before she left, she looked at me, not like a wife looks at her husband, but like a stranger who already knows a secret. That's when something inside me broke. When she shut the door behind her, I followed. I kept my headlights off and followed from a distance. If I was wrong, I told myself I'd apologize, maybe even hate myself for doubting her. But deep down, I already knew I wouldn't be wrong. She didn't drive toward the gym. She took the highway, straight across town. Her speed changed too. Not casual, not routine, urgent. She kept checking her mirrors, not once, but constantly, like someone terrified of being seen. My pulse hammered so hard I could barely breathe. Where was she going? Who was she rushing to? She pulled into an unfamiliar neighborhood. Expensive, modern, quiet. Not the kind of place where you meet a friend from the gym. She parked, grabbed her purse, and checked herself in the car window, fixing her hair, adjusting her lipstick, smiling at her own reflection. I'd never seen her smile like that before. Not for me, not in years. Then a man stepped out of a townhouse, tall, confident. He walked straight to her car with no hesitation. She didn't look surprised to see him. She looked relieved. And then, God, I watched her wrap her arms around him. Not casually, not like a greeting. She melted into him. I must have made a sound inside my car because I tasted blood. Realized I'd bitten my lip hard enough to split it. I could have stormed out right then. I could have confronted both of them, but something stopped me. Instead, I grabbed my phone and started recording. It was only 30 seconds. Her kissing him holding her, her whispering something against his neck. And then suddenly she froze, straightened up, looked around like she sensed something. She pulled away from him, panic flashing in her eyes, almost like she knew I was there. I sank deeper into my seat, holding my breath as if she could hear it from across the street. She scanned the area like a predator suddenly sensing another presence. Her eyes passed over my car too quickly, then snapped back. For a second, I thought she recognized me. My heart stopped. But then the man touched her arm and whispered something, and she forced a smile again, though this one looked nervous, shaky. They went inside the townhouse. I sat there in the dark, staring at the door that swallowed her up. My hands were shaking so violently I almost dropped my phone. I watched the video I'd recorded 3 times, each time hoping, begging that I somehow imagined it. I didn't. Her engagement ring flashed under the street lamp when she grabbed his shirt and pulled him into that kiss. The same ring I had saved months to buy. The same ring she once said she would never take off. I snapped pictures of the house number, the car, the man, everything, every detail that would prove I wasn't insane. Minutes passed, then an hour, then another. At 12:46 a.m., the front door opened. She stepped out first, fixing her hair. She was laughing, like a teenager sneaking home past curfew. The man leaned in and kissed her neck. She didn't push him away. She didn't even pretend to resist. Then she got into her car and drove off like nothing had happened, like her whole marriage hadn't just detonated. I waited until her taillights disappeared before I finally exhaled. I didn't go home right away. I drove to a 24-hour parking lot and stared at my phone, at the evidence I now had, at the truth. But the moment I walked into the house, everything became worse. She was already there, and she was waiting for me. She was sitting on the couch in the dark. No TV, no phone, no lights. Just her and the look of someone preparing for a performance. "Where were you?" she asked calmly, as if she'd been the one abandoned. I didn't answer. I simply looked at her. Really looked at her. The same woman I once believed I understood better than myself. Now a stranger wearing my wife's face. She got up slowly and walked toward me, pretending to study my expression. "You're acting weird," she murmured. "Are you okay? Did something happen?" Her voice soft, soothing, designed to make me question my own thoughts. I pulled out my phone and held it between us. My thumb hovered over the screen where the video waited. Her eyes flicked down, her jaw tensed for half a second, barely noticeable. Then she laughed, actually laughed. "Oh my God," she whispered, wiping fake tears of amusement. "You're spying on me now? Are you serious?" "You weren't at the gym," I said. She scoffed. "I was. I followed you." She raised an eyebrow. "No, you didn't. I saw you with him." Her expression didn't change. Not guilt, not shame, just boredom. I pressed play. She watched the screen without blinking, her kissing him, her holding him, her fingers in his hair. Then she looked up and shrugged. "That video means nothing," she said. I almost laughed in disbelief. "Nothing? He's a friend. He's going through a rough time. I was comforting him." "Comforting him," I repeated. She stepped closer, so close I could smell the perfume she'd worn for another man. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "You're destroying this marriage with your insecurity." My heart pounded with a sick mix of rage and heartbreak, but she wasn't done. She pressed her forehead to mine and whispered, "If you ever follow me again, we're done." She kissed me, light, emotionless, and walked toward the bedroom. Then, just before she closed the door, she turned back and smiled the coldest smile I'd ever seen. "Good night, sweetheart." And in that moment, I realized something gut-wrenching. She wasn't scared of being caught. She was confident I wouldn't leave. I barely slept that night. She lay beside me like nothing was wrong, breathing steady, peaceful, while my world rotted in silence inches away. By morning, I'd made a decision. If she wanted to pretend nothing happened, I would pretend too. Let her feel safe. Let her get careless. And she did. Over the next week, her lies multiplied. Late meetings, girls' nights, traffic jams. Every excuse delivered without hesitation, like she'd practiced them. I stopped confronting. I started studying. Patterns emerged. Perfume only on Thursdays. Full makeup, but just going to run errands. Phone always face down. Her smile always bigger when a certain unknown number popped up. But the breakthrough came by accident. One night, she fell asleep early. So early she didn't even plug in her phone. It was on the nightstand, unguarded. The screen lit up. "Are you still coming tomorrow? I can't stop thinking about you." The contact wasn't saved with a name. It was saved as Clinic. My stomach dropped. The message preview flashed again. "I miss your body," counting the hours. My hands shook as I grabbed the phone and opened the conversation, and what I saw shattered whatever hope I had left. There were hundreds of messages, voice notes, pictures, dates scheduled, inside jokes, her calling him my real happiness. She even talked about me, mocking my routines, my habits, my feelings. Don't worry, he'll never leave. He needs me too much. Then I saw their next plan. Thursday, same townhouse, except this time they'd booked a room at a hotel under a fake work trip. Attached to the message was a digital room key and a screenshot of the hotel reservation. She wasn't just having an affair, she was comfortable, predictable, proud of it. I heard movement in the hallway, her footsteps getting closer. I locked the phone and slid it back just in time. She walked in and smiled groggily. "Why are you up so late?" she yawned. My heartbeat was a drum inside my skull. I forced a smile. "Just working," I said. She kissed my cheek and whispered, "I'm lucky to have you." And then she went back to sleep, like a monster satisfied after feeding. But she didn't know something. I wasn't going to follow her next time. I was going to wait for her at that hotel. Thursday arrived like a slow-burning fuse. She packed her suitcase in the morning while humming, a cheerful, almost childlike sound. She said she'd be out of town for work until Saturday. She even kissed me goodbye, lingering just long enough to sting. I waited exactly 1 hour after she left. Then I drove to the hotel. The lobby was too beautiful for what was about to happen. Polished marble, flowers, soft music. I checked the room number from the screenshot, 614. My hands didn't shake this time. All I felt was clarity, the kind that comes after pain burns itself out. I took the elevator and stopped outside the door. I heard voices inside, laughing, glasses clinking. I didn't knock. I used the digital key. The room fell silent instantly. She was sitting on the couch in lingerie, a wine glass in her hand. The man, shirtless, stood behind her, his arm around her. The shock on her face lasted 3 seconds. Then she switched to her usual weapon, coldness. "What are you doing here?" she said, like I was inconveniencing her. I stepped inside, closed the door, and leaned against it. "No more lies," I said quietly. She rolled her eyes, actually rolled her eyes, and got up like she was annoyed at a grocery store clerk. "Fine, you caught us. Happy now?" The man stepped forward like he was going to defend her. I didn't move. I didn't have to. He took one look into my face and froze. My wife crossed her arms, exhaled dramatically. "You're pathetic," she said. "You've been snooping like some jealous child. You followed me, went through my phone. Who does that?" "I cheat on your husband," I replied. She sneered. "Because I'm done pretending. You make me feel nothing. I've been finished with this marriage for a long time." I felt something inside me crack, but she wasn't done. She looked at the man and smirked. Tell him I'm happier with you." But the man stayed silent. He didn't even look at her. She snapped her fingers at him like he was a dog. That's when I realized something she didn't. Their relationship wasn't built on passion or love. It was built on control. She didn't want him. She wanted to dominate someone, anyone. She turned back to me, her eyes burning with hatred. She said, "You're not leaving me. You need me. You always have, and you always will." I looked at her for a long moment, and then I smiled. I already left. I pulled divorce papers from my bag and dropped them on the table. Her face changed, not to guilt, not to sadness, but to pure rage. She screamed, an animalistic sound, and threw the wine glass against the wall inches from my head. The man yelled at her to stop. She spun on him and slapped him hard across the face. Then she turned back to me and whispered, venom shaking her voice, "You will regret this." I didn't answer her. I just walked out. But the story wasn't over, not even close. The drive home felt unreal, not silent, empty. I wasn't crying, I wasn't shaking, I wasn't thinking. It was like the man I used to be had died in that hotel room, and something new was sitting behind the wheel. I got home, packed my essentials, and left before she returned. I didn't leave a note. I didn't tell anyone where I was going. For For the first time in years, I chose my peace over her approval. But she didn't let me disappear quietly. The texts started within an hour. "We need to talk. I don't want a divorce. You're ruining everything." Then anger. "You're abandoning me. You're destroying our life. You're throwing away years for nothing." Then desperation. "Please come home. I didn't mean it. We can fix this, I swear." When that failed, she tried breaking me. "No one will ever love you. You're weak. You'll come back. You always do." But I didn't. I stayed with a close friend for a few days, changed my number, blocked her email, froze our joint accounts. I expected rage from her, revenge, drama, but instead, everything went quiet, too quiet. For the first time since I met her, she vanished. No messages, no calls, no attempts to contact me. And that silence was somehow worse because I knew her. She didn't give up, she calculated, and she was planning something. That something arrived 1 week later in a plain white envelope slid under my friend's front door. There was no letter, no explanation, just a single photograph, a picture of me asleep at my friend's kitchen table, taken from outside a window. Someone had been watching me, and written on the back in her handwriting were 3 words: "You can't hide." My stomach turned to ice. I realized then, escaping her was not the end of the story. It was just the beginning. I stared at that photograph for a long time, not because I was afraid, though I was, but because it proved something I had never allowed myself to believe. She had never loved me, not even in the beginning. What she loved was control, ownership, the feeling of being needed, not appreciated, not cherished, owned. And the moment I stopped being owned, her obsession began. I turned the photo over again, reading the message, "You can't hide." My old self would have panicked, begged her to stop, tried to fix things. But pain can be a form of rebirth. I realized every threat she made, every lie she told, every time she called me weak was projection. She needed me to believe I couldn't survive without her because deep down she couldn't survive without controlling someone. So I didn't reply. I didn't confront her. I didn't feed the monster. I contacted my lawyer. We filed a restraining order. We connected the hotel footage, text messages, phone records, and the photo taken at the house. Evidence doesn't care about gaslighting. The court date arrived. She sat across from me in that sterile courtroom, dressed in white like she was auditioning for innocence. But the moment the evidence was displayed, the mask cracked. Her eyes turned sharp, calculating, venomous. Not sad, not ashamed. But I didn't look away. For the first time in years, I met her gaze without fear. The judge granted the divorce and the restraining order. 5 years together ended with a bang of a gavel. She walked past me afterward, close enough for me to hear her whisper, "This isn't over." I didn't respond. I didn't need to, because the story wasn't about her anymore. It was about me, finally choosing myself. People think healing happens overnight. It doesn't. Some days I still wake up expecting her next move, waiting for the next message, the next threat, the next attempt to pull me back into her world of manipulation. But every time that fear appears, something stronger rises with it. The memory of the moment I took my life back. The truth is, not every love story has a happy ending, but every escape does. And sometimes the bravest thing a person can do is walk away from the person they once thought they couldn't live without.